Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the channel Will on Safety. So today's topic, I thought I'd talk about my journey into the world of health and safety. I'm going to talk about what qualifications I started to acquire. I'm going to talk about how I organised getting work experience without being fully qualified in the field. And I'm going to talk about some good hints and tips for people that are interested in health and safety as a subject and think they might want to do it as a career. If you have a look on the health and safety forums, one of the biggest questions that keeps coming up on those forums is, I've done my IOSH qualifications, how do I now get a job in health and safety? As I'm sure many of you are aware, it's not just a case of becoming NIOSH qualified. NIOSH is a great way to get those fundamental qualifications you need for a role in the health and safety field. The way I did it, I didn't start with NIOSH qualifications at all. I went down the IOSH route. So the first course I did was an IOSH Managing Safely course. I also did an IOSH Risk Assessors course and an IOSH Accident Investigation and Reporting course. Those three courses really were fantastic baseline courses to start to build an understanding of what may be required for a future role in health and safety. I also, at the same time, started to study for my NIOSH General Certificate. So the NIOSH General Certificate is really the sort of foundation that most companies will look for in their health and safety professionals, so their health and safety competent person on site. So I was studying, you can study it two ways. You can study it sort of on site, where it's very classroom based learning. The route I took was distance learning, so I could study in my own time, and then I met everybody else on exam day and went in for the examinations. So just scooting back a bit, after I'd done my initial IOSH qualifications, I realised that just having qualifications, even if it was a NIOSH, isn't necessarily enough to become attractive to companies to hire me as their health and safety advisor, health and safety consultant, excuse me, or other health and safety job that might come up. What you really need is a build-up of knowledge and experience. It can be quite daunting if you haven't got the qualifications in a set subject to approach companies and see if there's any way you can work alongside qualified people to gain, that sort of skill set and experience. And really, the best way in the health and safety world, at least, and the best way I have found personally, is write to consultancies, write to house builders, construction firms, big companies that have either a health and safety team, or they might have a health and safety manager or advisor, and just ask them if you can tag along, start learning the trade alongside them. I mean, that's a great way of learning, because you've got somebody that's, in my case at least, was very, very experienced, and they took me under their wing, and they showed me all around the construction industry. That was the first industry I was exposed to. So that was house building initially. So lots of working at high excavations, confined space, permits, CDM regulations. I was exposed to all different aspects of health and safety in construction, which was fantastic. I didn't stop there though. I approached some other companies as well, and I ended up getting some work experience for quite a while, probably 2, 3, 4, 5 months, with a consultancy that also was in the construction field, but they did construction on a much larger scale, so building superstores, building skyscrapers, new hotels. So it was heavy civil engineering, heavy construction. And that really is the way that I built my experience up. All of my free time I just put into getting out in the field, conducting audits, learning about CDM regulations, talking to different trades, really watching the more experienced safety professionals and learning from them about how to engage with people. Health and safety is 90% engagement with people. It's communication. If communication is poor, it can make it really difficult. The best way I sort of preach health and safety, if you like, is whenever I ask somebody to do something, I make sure I fully, explain to them why the necessity is there. It's not just a case, and it's not good enough really to say you've got to do this because the HSE advise you to do it. You need to explain what the potential repercussions can be, what sort of failures might look like in terms of fines, HSE visits, potential for corporate manslaughter, potential for jail time. And if you explain exactly why you're asking somebody to do something a certain way or to implement a new process, then generally that explanation will help you implement whatever you need to implement. So experience is key really, and that time with more experienced safety professionals is really valuable. Make sure you take loads of notes. Make sure you get a thorough understanding of what's required in the health and safety world. So once I gathered that key experience, what I then did, I put in for my NEBOSH General Certificate exam. So I passed the NEBOSH General exam, and I was very lucky. My first job in the health and safety world was with a consultancy. They knew I was very new, but they liked the fact that I came from a sort of forces background, and I was taken under their wing. So when you're first starting out in the industry, yes, qualifications are really important, but just as important is gaining that knowledge, that experience, and that exposure to the type of industry you're hoping to work in. So once you've got that, don't be afraid, to ask those consultancies that may have helped you with the work experience, or other firms that may have helped you gain that work experience for references. References go, a long way. But the key of that exposure is really learning the craft, learning how different people do it. Different people are different. They approach situations in a different way. You complete and target tasks in a different way as well. So having that exposure, learning from different folks will really help you develop your way of becoming a health and safety professional. So get that experience, then do your qualifications, get those qualifications, and then start applying for jobs. At your interview stages, even if you haven't been in a health and safety job, you may well have been exposed to other key aspects of health and safety, which, if you can pull some of those key aspects out, are really going to help you at interview. So maybe you've worked for a firm for a long while, and maybe you've done a train the trainer course. That's invaluable as a health and safety professional. Maybe you've sat on health and safety committees and been part of those health and safety teams. Maybe you've done an auditing course. So all of these different key aspects that you may have done in previous roles that weren't necessarily a health and safety role, but they have a health and safety connotation. So it's really important that you look back through your previous job roles and try and pull out those sort of key bits of health and safety work that I can guarantee almost everybody that watches this video would have done at some point. You may well have been a first aider. You may well have been responsible for checking fire equipment, checking first aid equipment, spill equipment. So all those little jobs, they add up as well. So any real world and real time experience you can show to a potential employer is only going to help your cause when you're up against many other people that are after the same job. The thing that's going to make you stand out the most, though, is that experience. If you go into an employer and say, I am very new to the industry, I've just done my IOSH General Certificate, so I'm ready to go. But what I have done, because I realise that I'm very new to the industry, is I've attached myself to a consultancy or to this business or that business, and I have been out with their safety professionals to learn the trade, to be exposed to construction work, to be exposed to health and safety in construction, CDM regulations, lockout, tagouts, working at height, permitted activities, conducting risk assessments. If you can explain that to the potential employer, that is really going to help you stand out head and shoulders above somebody else that may well, have done the IOSH General Certificate, but they might not have as much experience as you. It is key that you get out on site, get attached to a firm, and start doing the job. I did it pro gratis, so no pay. I just thought, I'll just give them my time. I will get involved with whatever they need to get me to get involved with in terms of health and safety, and I will just learn. And that really has done me the world of good. When I've then joined a consultancy, I was a health and safety consultant for about 3 years. And then after the consultancy, I joined a large US corporate health and safety firm, and I haven't looked back since. I hope you find that little bit of advice useful. I just thought it would be prudent to do a video on this subject because if you have a look in the IOSH forums or any of the other health and safety forums, that really is a question that comes up time and time and time again. I've got my qualifications, I've got my certificates. How do I get into the industry? So I hope you found it useful. If you have found it useful, if you do like the channel, please like and subscribe to the channel. It's free. I'm going to be posting at least twice a week. So I will post once during the week with more health and safety tips and hints. And then on a Tuesday, I'm going to be doing Toolbox Talk Tuesdays. So every Tuesday we'll cover a fresh Toolbox Talk. But for now, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And remember, folks, be safe by choice, not by chance. Take care. Bye for now.